Hello YouTube, I'm David with the David West channel. Well, I've been out looking for bow drill materials again this morning, and it looks like our best candidate is going to be Tulip Poplar. This time let's try to make everything out of the Tulip Poplar. The tinder bundle, the spindle, the fireboard, and the bearing block, which is going to add a lot of difficulty to not use my fatwood bearing block. If I just absolutely cannot make it work, then we will resort to the fatwood bearing block. But let me show you where I gathered up this branch, and I'll start breaking down this tulip poplar bark while you're going. Look at all these poplars. And in these vines right here, here's a nice dry piece up off the ground, no bark on it, exposed to the sun and the wind, and it is highly degraded. Let's go ahead and see if I can untangle this thing, and we'll use it. Poplar can be difficult. I like to bow slow, low pressure, and for a long time, and I have better results with it for bow drill. Let's see if I can get it out of there. Good. Let's just lay it right here for now. We'll come back and get it on our way out. All right, let me show you this. You're stripping the inner bark away from this outer bark. And so I like to break the bark over my finger, peel that little section of outer bark off, and then sort of continue to roll the inner bark over this finger and try to strip as big a piece off of there as possible. Which will leave you with all these ribbons right here. I still have some on here that I haven't taken off. We'll just take it up and just rough it up in your hands, buff it out. You're just trying to separate out all those fibers. Tulip poplar bark is as good as it gets when it comes to tinder bundle material. That is some good tinder right there. On the spindle now. Nothing really straight on here. I'm gonna try it from here to here. There's a lot of bow in there that needs to be cut out and straightened, but let's give it a try.
We'll cut all the knots off, the branches.
I have to take some length off of it. There's just no straightening out that curve. Let's cut it right here. That's more like it. 9 inches, I'm happy with that. There's my hot end and my bearing block end. Let's go ahead and make it round now. All right, Not a perfect cylinder, but it's close enough. Now, on the hot end, I'll come down 1/4 of an inch, do facets all the way around. Come up 1/8 inch, facets all the way around. 1/16 inch, facets all the way around. And since the spindle is so short, by my standards, instead of having a tapered end that long, I think I'm gonna have a lot shorter tapered end for the bearing block end. All right, what can we come up with for a bearing block? I want to find the hardest wood possible. I think this is the hardest end of my spindle. Let's go for a bearing block now. All right, this end right here is as hard as anything that I have. So let's cut this off here. There's our bearing block. And I've got these 2 flats, one right over the other, so that I'll know that I'm on my spindle good and square. It's easy when I'm up over the top of it and looking down on it, for instead of it being square like this, to eventually drift over to the side like that and not realize it. But if I could see that flat, then I can keep that oriented up, and we'll be going straight down onto the spindle. This center hole right here where there was a knot is the hardest one, and this is the softest one. So hopefully we can get it just one try in this center divot. All right, Fireboard. Let's see. That's a good straight piece right there. Let's use it. Punky. I mean bad punky. Good and solid. Just about the same density as the spindle. My arms aren't long enough to get everything in the shot at the same time. Good. Let's make the bow. Well, this end here is just too weak, so we'll break that off. All right, just like you saw me do 2 weeks ago, we're just going to take 6 feet of paracord, tie a knot at one end, and wrap the other. Alright, I hope you can see this. Let's leave about 1 inch of slack. I'm going to pull it away from the butt about 1 inch. Right there. Then we'll take and wrap it and lap back over itself. And just keep wrapping as tight as you can on up this bowstring. And you make a little loop by wrapping over your thumb so that you can get back up underneath that wrap and cinch it down. And this paracord really tightens up on itself really well. This will not come back out. There's a bunch of noise in the neighborhood, but that's not unusual, is it? Let's go ahead and do a burn in and see how this is going to work out. Tulip poplar on tulip poplar, tulip poplar bark bird's nest, tulip poplar bearing block. Looking good, other than that dust sticking to the top of the fireboard, so there's moisture in it. I can't wait to see how this one's going to turn out. And I'm going to continue on with that same divot for the bearing block. Low pressure, slow bowing, low and slow. All right, looks like we got a good ember. And we only had to use just that one divot in the bearing block. Well, I must say that was very satisfying. Everything made from tulip poplar, except for the bowstring. And you've always got cordage on you. You've got t-shirt hams, you've got shoelaces. So the bow, the bearing block, of course the fireboard, and the spindle. A nice long spindle too, about 8 inches. I'd hate to use anything shorter than that. So that really worked out great. Well, since the weed eater next door has shut down, let's go ahead and say our goodbyes. I appreciate you joining me on this one. We'll catch you on the next one.